This is Pit River. That way is Pit Lake, and that way are noisy people. That way are rich farmers, and this way is me. Want to describe quickly my experience with so-called ADHD, ADHD, whatever. Attention hyper deficit hyperventilation disorder bullshit. Um, I recorded a couple of talks about it, and just a few minutes ago I watched a university professor talking about it from the clinical perspective. So I spent almost 20 something minutes watching a video that tells me nothing. I mean, I learned a bit that there are teens and kids and even adults who experience certain symptoms. So he described certain symptoms, and by the end of the video he tells the viewers that medication will never fix the problem, but will help to manage the symptoms, help the individual manage the symptoms. And he came up with a very nice analogy. So the guy is very smart and provided analogies, which I love to see that type of thinking. Say if he wants to see the letters on a typewriter, he would have to use eyeglasses so he could see the letters clearer. Then take the eyeglasses off, blurry vision back on. Same thing with medication. People might get some serotonin or some other type of drugs to improve the chemical or biochemical balance in the brain, to make the brain perform better. But once the individual stops the medication, it goes back to kind of the genetic design. So for some reason the society is trying to put everyone in a similar box, and we tend to look up to the successful people, maybe so-called happy people, so happy faces, and we desire to be like them, and they set the trends. If this dude is smoking Marlboro, then probably he's a happy dude, and we need to smoke Marlboro, and we want to be in the same box. And you see that stupidity in the American culture when people fell for this TV and media ads, and millions got cancer, lung cancer, because trying to be in a similar box with a guy who was being used by the marketing companies hired by the cigarette manufacturers. I don't know if it makes sense. So you're unique. If you came here genetically different, you don't have to struggle to fit into someone else's box, especially now with new ways of thinking, when they want to make everyone think the same. Everyone got COVID, everyone must get vaccinated, or else. So putting everyone in the box using brute force, including using the authorities and legal power. So You have to comply, you have to believe, you have to act the way you want. I mean, the way they want, the people in power, which is against God's design. If you don't believe in God, that's your free choice. So these people born with this so-called condition, it's not a condition, it's a way of the way the brain works. If there was a fault, let's say a nuclear particle hit the DNA, the mother DNA and the egg or the sperm, and broke some stuff, some chromosomes or some important information. So this nuclear radiation or X-ray or whatever did some damage. You would see a very, very small number of birth defects. And that's expected. When you see, let's say, 0.0000 something percent, or maybe one person per million getting some weird disease that nobody can fix because there is no knowledge about it. Okay, could be a genetic defect, and that's not a normal. That's not normal. So a person was not the luckiest person on earth, and it just happened. But when you see maybe 1 out of 10, which could be 5%, 10% of the population having this so-called condition, attention deficit disorder, that's stupid to think that this is a disease. It's like let me find some other type of human behavior. People who tend to eat a lot and maybe want to enjoy food, but they are not obese, they just eat a lot. Gourmand people, let's say. They might be 2% of the population, I don't know. I don't have the stats, but can we call that a mental illness? Yeah, maybe we can call mental illness when it's about trying to change the sex. Yeah, we can call that mental illness because you want to go against nature, or this is a so-called agenda when they push these kids to ignore their sexual identity, their genetic identity. So this mental weird behavior can be also programmed in weak minds, fragile minds. But if so many people have this, they call it attention deficit disorder, which is also suggesting that we are supposed to have attention. All we are supposed to have attention. So if we look at the population, let's give you another condition, so-called condition. Not everyone is horny at the same level. If I look at statistics, if I want to, I may see that probably 10% of people have no libido, this lack of sexual desire. Can we call that a medical condition that requires treatment? No, it would be stupid. those people have different interests. They are wired differently based on their genetics and their mind needs. That's a coyote over there. You can't see in this camera, but yeah, he saw me. Hey, puppy, puppy, come here, come here. I have something for you. No, he's not that naive. So I gave you just one example, but you can find so many with different type of human behavior that it's normal, but is not being put or considered a medical condition. So person have different genetics. That means the body has different needs. Some people get hungrier faster or more often. Some people want more sex. Some people feel more connection, more human connection. Other people want more human touch. Other people want taste things. We are so unique. We still fall into certain categories, but doesn't mean all these behaviors are medical conditions. Same thing here with the so-called this bullshit term HD, HDD, whatever. I don't really want to learn how to pronounce that thing because to me it's stupid and it's not worth to learn about it because it's a normal human behavior. But I'll give you in a couple of minutes. I still have a couple of minutes to record my journey being part of that category. So I was in first grade, maybe second grade or something. Yeah, I was having some trouble standing still. Like the teacher often asked me to keep my hands behind my back, so that was a normal approach. All the kids in the classroom were supposed to have their hands tied together, or tied, I mean connected together at the back, behind the back. It prevents the kid to, play with their fingers, fiddle, do silly stuff, or play with the pencil, whatever. Prevents the kid to lose focus. So that was a very common thing, and all the elementary teachers were pushing this method so they could talk to the students, and the students would not get distracted, would kind of keep focus. But that was bullshit because if I had my hands behind my back, my mind was all over the place anyways. But the teacher didn't know. The teacher just pushed that method because it was part of the ways of teaching the students. She had no clue what's in the student mind. At some point I got punished for playing with the biscuits. So I had some biscuits, a needle, and sewing thread, and I made a kind of a chain out of biscuits on the little thread, on the string. So I had a string, used the needle, and I had these biscuits. So that was some silly stuff that I built because I was getting bored. I was not really interested. The method she was pushing, the teacher, I mean, was not meant for my type of brain. But because it's not economical to have specific methods for this special type of cases, which is not special, but it's common, but there is a minority, let's say. uh, they just push one method that fits all because it's more economical. So in my case, I'm left-handed person, and I was forced to use my right hand to write. And that way I had to rewire my brain, which made very hard on me to focus my energy, my brain energy and my mind into learning, because the brain has limited amount of energy that has to be used for different things, for attention, for listening, for reading, writing, for motor skills and stuff like that. And it takes energy to reconfigure itself, especially when a teacher is pushing you to do something else that's not meant for you, it's not meant for your genetics. So that, again, I was one of these hyperactive kids, lots of energy to spare. I was left-handed, so now I've been shut down. I've been prevented from expressing with my left hand, expressing my speech, my thoughts, my play, my need to move. I was into my first prison, and that's hard on the kid, emotional development. But they don't know that because they are so stupid, and they think that they go to university or whatever bullshit school to learn childhood education. They think they do that, and they get a diploma, shoving their diploma in your face, telling you that they can teach your kid. That's total bullshit. Anyway, so I'm just giving you my perspective. And so I grew up. I had also one thing that this university professor described into his video, the urge of getting stuff right away. So the wants. It was very difficult to regulate my emotions and my wants, and I did some stupid stuff which I'm not proud of. Like I stole a couple of things from people who did not deserve to have the loss. I can say the silly stuff, stealing the strawberries from the neighbor. That was silly. Of course, I did something worse than that. And I could say I led almost a sinful life. Maybe a sinful life. I have to admit that. I did not go to see hookers or other things of sexual nature, or to smoke, or to get drunk, or go parties. So I was able to manage my emotions and urges to stay more of an elevated type of spirit, not going that low. But I got into sinful actions different ways by not being able to manage my wants. So it's related to self-regulation and other things. And to conclude, again, this is not really a medical condition. It's a genetical trait, and people around the family of this person who's suffering is not suffering, it's bullshit. This person who is not like them is just slightly different. They should form a community and support each other, because at some point this person who is that different is going to contribute to the society if the society is supporting him or her. If we as a society are forcing these individuals to fit in our box, that means we are fucking lazy. We don't want to invest any emotion, any energy, and any love into uh, accepting, accepting and adapting ourselves to get the best out of these individuals. Because we are so fucking lazy. We don't have enough energy for ourselves. So we don't have anything left for these individuals to support them, to take their hand and help them grow so they could find what's best for them to evolve into something what that they do what God wants them to do. So letting you go, that's the point I'm trying to make. If you have someone like that in your family that was diagnosed with this so-called condition, don't need to put them on chemicals, on toxic drugs to feed the pharmaceutical industry just because you want them to give you an easy journey. So if you feed them with medication like I did with my son, I put him on Ritalin because I was stupid. That means I was looking for an easier journey. And I was an idiot. And a month later, I took him off. So he learned how to self-regulate. It was all about lack of love from from me to him, right? So letting you go. Bye bye. Love your kids.